Hello, everybody. In 2 weeks, we are going to see the BMW Championship come back to Baltimore, Maryland. An incredible event, an incredible moment for Baltimore 4 years ago in 2021, where we saw the pros put on a heck of a show. They're coming back, and it's going to be as exciting as ever. And once again, it will be hosted at Caves Valley Golf Club. Caves Valley is an amazing club in Baltimore area, really one of the gems in the country. And for those who are golfers, they know the name. They know it's an incredible experience and a unique place. And this version of From the Ground Up, this conversation is going to be a little unique. We love to speak with entrepreneurs who've created businesses from the ground up. And we have a story that really works in that genre, although with a little bit of twist. Dennis Satyshur, who has been with Caves Valley since the beginning, since they were literally shovels in the ground building a golf course, is here today. He's going to talk to us about a remarkable career that spans over 30, 40 years. He was involved in the Ryder Cup. He was involved in the building and the success of Caves Valley. He's mentored people throughout his career to be successful professionals and teachers all over the country. He is one of the big names in golf, and he's going to talk to us about all of the attributes and all of the successes he had, which made the business of Caves Valley very successful and his part in that success. It's a great story. It's a wonderful story. It starts in Erie, Pennsylvania. We're going to finish it in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I think you're going to enjoy the conversation. So welcome, Dennis. It's so good to have you on From the Ground Up.
Well, thank you so much, Leo. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and
We have a little backspin. Yes, we do.
that's right. We have it in a good way at a fun place, at a wonderful place, Caves Valley, and I'm really thrilled to have you here. As I stated in the introduction, yeah, this is a little unique for From the Ground Up. I think your story is a true From the Ground Up story, but it's a little different spin coming in from the golf world. You've had a remarkable career, and I thought this would be such a good time because, as you know, in a couple weeks, we've got a lot of excitement coming back to Baltimore with the BMW Championship coming to Caves Valley. I mean, we had a just a magnificent Caves Valley BMW Championship last time in 2021. Your last year,
My last year, and what a year it was. And boy, that tournament was really something.
wasn't it amazing? I still get people today who say to me that finish, that final 6 holes, that playoff, amazing.
Well, it was almost like we were making a movie.
That's a good point.
you know, uh, DeChambeau was missing putts, and Cantley was making them just to keep it going. And what people don't know is that last hole that was played, it was dark.
That's right.
Now, on TV, it didn't look dark, but if we didn't finish when we did, it would have had to go on to the next morning.
Oh my goodness.
It's right on the end, but it's like getting 4 flat tires at the same time. Boom, you know? So and the gallery, for whatever reason, took to Cantley,
Yeah.
and they were calling him Iceman or something like that, and,
Well, I think it's funny if you go back. I mean, remember there was the whole persona thing between Kepka and DeChambeau, and interestingly, now DeChambeau is one of the more loved personalities in the world.
yeah, he seemed to come out a little bit more, and, was more human. And expressed a lot of things that we like to hear as golf fans.
Yeah.
A little humility
Right.
and a little bit of the people that did what they did to give the game and give you as a tour player today what you have.
Right. Wow. I mean, it's hard for a guy like to be humble when he hits the ball that hard, but he's done a nice job.
Yeah, he has.
So now they're coming back. So I just think as we think about this next BMW, Caves Valley has done an extraordinary job over the last really 8, 10 years of transforming what was already a great place into an even more extraordinary place. And they really, I think, for the BMW this trip around, this is not going to be the same golf course for these guys.
No, it certainly is not.
It's a big change.
Well, so many things happened right for Caves, and we'll talk about that as we go on. But getting Tom Fazio as the architect, voted by his peers as the best architect of modern day times, was just a blessing.
Right.
And, the guys, when we started, they were dreamers. They talked about a national club in Baltimore and a caddy program and part of an economic development and, so many things and national championships, we were going to be good for the community and for the state. And those are a lot of boxes to check. And it's easy to say over a cocktail or at a cocktail party, but to dig in and do it is another thing
Sure.
altogether. But the group was so committed to really making this place special,
Right.
and special can be defined a lot of different ways by people. But we're very golf centric. Golf's important at Caves. The caddies there, the experience that you have, and we never really stopped on trying to improve.
Mhm.
And we had
Right up till today.
oh, yeah. And in the beginning, the Valley Planning Council, I guess, they had a lot to say about
Right.
what we could do, couldn't go too close to this or couldn't take down any more trees, so there were so many restrictions in the beginning, but the guys that were doing it knew that we had to get it in
Right.
before we could really push things.
Right.
So the commitment from the very time I interviewed, this place is going to be special,
Right.
and we think you can help make it special.
Yeah.
So I was 40 years old at the time, and I had been 6 years at the Baltimore Country Club, and it was a time to take a chance.
That's great. So do you think, and I wanna dig into your story, but, quickly, as we get ready for the tournament, do you think Caves is the best it's ever been right now?
Actually, that's a very good question, and actually I do. As I've seen it from picking rocks out of fairways to, we had a membership gathering on the old fifth fairway. It was loaded with rocks. We picked them out. But this now we really have something that's special, and the greens have been reworked and think
Precision air.
precision air.
Right.
You try and get on that mountain, Leo, where the great clubs are.
Yeah.
You know,
And we're there.
well, we are, and you can't buy it. You have to earn it. And national championships and the spoken word by the respected player,
Mhm.
tour player, low handicap player, golf writers is so important. And we invested in that by doing our Chesapeake Cup,
Right.
getting mid-am and senior players in. But one of the goals was to have national championships.
Yeah.
Reg Murphy was our president, not our chairman, but our president and president of the USGA. So he was helpful in getting the mid-am championship there and the senior championship that Tom Watson lost in the playoff to Don Pooley.
Yeah.
And
ND1, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we've had national
Yeah.
championships,
But
but
this is the big time.
the BMW is a coup.
Yeah. This is big
It,
time.
it really is now the 50 best players in the country, probably the world. With a little bit of live, there might be a few, but coming into Baltimore to play Cave Valley,
Right.
and now the tour has their field staff that sets up the course.
Mhm.
So it's not like the club can do pin positions or do things. And they took, we thought, kind of the easier road. First 2 days were lift, clean, in place.
Right.
They left the par fives as par five,
In '01, in 2021.
21,
Yeah.
right. And, so the greens were soft.
Yeah.
We,
So for those who don't remember, in 2021, it was an incredible tournament, but the pros went low.
they really did.
They went low, and I was at a dinner, I'm not sure if you were at the BMW dinner on Tuesday. Full disclosure, I'm a member at Case Valley, a proud member, so I'll be talking highly of the club. But, um, Phil Mickelson said, "It's been raining for a week, guys, and it's soft out there, and the greens are still running great." And he said, "That's a testament to your staff." He said, "But the other side of that is we're gonna go low. We can fire at pins,
And
and
stop it.
we can roll that thing in," and that's what happened. But now I fast forward to today, the new rough, the new designs,
Oh, yeah.
the greens are gonna be with the precision air. And for those who don't know, precision air is a whole system where you can extract moisture and keep greens cool, and you really govern speed and firmness. It's gonna be a very different feel this time around.
Totally different. Last time in 21, they played all the par fives, four of them, as par five.
Right.
This year, two of those par fives go away.
Yeah, there's 8 strokes.
8 strokes from par right
Right.
there. And, you defined it perfectly. When the pros aren't worried about the second putt,
Yeah,
they hit that first one firmer and they make them.
yeah,
We saw in this last weekend at the US Open, at Oakmont, they were softer because they didn't want that 5-footer,
right.
you know? So, it was interesting to watch, Tom Fazio's green specialist design the greens.
Mm.
As he walked onto the green, he was looking for hole locations and then would work the green around the hole location,
Yeah,
as opposed to just doing a green and then trying to figure out where to put them.
that's amazing, the minds.
Oh, so, it is the greens are their own challenge,
Yeah,
and keeping them firm and fast where that ball will take one bounce before it
right.
checks will put them at a distance that they'll have to be careful of the next putt.
Yeah. I'm actually seeing that, and when I bring folks to Caves Valley now,
Sure.
right, they're saying, "Wow, those greens are hard," and they're really fast and they're unique. So it's so exciting. I can't wait to see what kind of scores come up
This
here.
I can say, having been there from the beginning, this is the golf course we dreamed about.
Great.
This one, from respective tees, can challenge from the tour player to the 20 handicap,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, or to the senior player that can move up. So it's I can't wait for them to get here, and the excitement as you talk about the build up is going on now.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you see this thing kind of coming together,
Right, the infrastructure of it,
oh, it's
stands
it's
and
the coolest thing. I mean, it's kind of like maybe watching the Super Bowl stadium get
yeah,
built
just
up,
built up for the one day.
and it's like, man, this is just
Yeah.
the best.
Well, I always what I thought was amazing about the first BMW is it said Baltimore's ready for professional golf, for the actual PGA Tour because, wow, the reception. I
Oh,
mean, sold out spectator seats, set records on suite sales, and, sold out of merchandise. I think it was Saturday that you guys sold out of merchandise. I mean, Baltimore, they didn't just embrace it, they ran at this thing, and that was your last year. I know this year, you're here as Dennis, a proud member of Caves Valley, not the director of
well,
golf
my little
anymore.
red logo here.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the red logo, absolutely,
Yeah.
and, so I know, you don't have the details of this year's event, but the last time it was here, I mean, I don't think Baltimore could have said louder and prouder that, "Hey, we're a place where the PGA should be coming, and
Well,
we're better than Caves Valley."
perfect. Caves was built for that. They
Right.
they
Land, space.
predicted it. They
Right.
are driven toward that. But I think the golfing community was starved for that regular tour. We
Right.
had the senior tour and we had the ladies tour. But I think it was back at, the Eastern Open or something, Arnold Palmer won a tournament over at Pine Ridge.
Right.
They said he hit his first ball out of bounds. He was with Dow Finsterball, and he says, I'm not gonna play this." Dow says, "Hit another one. Come on, keep playing." And he ended up winning
Winning.
winning the tournament. But there hadn't been the
Never give up, kids.
right. But there hadn't been a regular tour event since then,
Right.
which was, late '50s or whenever
It's
it was.
incredible.
And the response was just I was so proud of how everyone was there, over 2,000 volunteers,
Wow.
and it was hot. I
Yeah.
mean, it was
Yeah.
really
It's
hot.
August in Maryland.
And they had the, down at the Inner Harbor, they had the hotel, I think it was Kevin Plank's hotel down there for the
Pendry.
Pendry for the players and the draw. And, the Pro-Am draw was kind of fun. They have the foursomes. You have a number, and they pull a number out, and you get to pick your pro.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
That's
And I expect more of the same this year. The sales.
it seems like it's right back there.
Well, because people's memories are short in that regard. I mean, it's like, man, we we want to see it again.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, I can tell you Vertus Capital Advisors, all the way back in on the
And I
BMW.
think almost everyone that was, there is coming back.
So let's dig into Caves Valley a little bit um, and your background. Again, this is from the ground up, and it's such an unusual place, and it's such an unusual story. So, and I'll let you describe it a little bit. What I tell folks that have never been to caves, and there's nothing more fun for a caves member to bring somebody for the first time, right? And I tell folks all the time, you bring somebody to overnight at Caves, and so Caves has these wonderful cabins, and you come, you play golf, you have this beautiful dinner, you stay overnight, play golf the next day. I always say it's like going on vacation for a week in one day. It's just so good from, from we say for, Caves, we say from the gate to the gate, right? In the gate to out of the gate. It's a remarkable experience, and it's really interesting because what's unique about Caves is we've only had 2 director of golfs, and we've only had 2 general managers, and we've only had 3 chairmen. And so, and the club's been around since
35 years.
35 years. So that's very unusual, and it has created this remarkable, really quite remarkable experience for golfers who come to Caves, but also to Baltimore, and it puts it on the map. And you were there at the beginning. You were there, but you were literally the pro at Caves before there was a shovel in the ground. Like, what walk me through that that first time where you're at BCC, it's the preeminent the predominant club in Baltimore. It's the place, and you're there, and then there's this opportunity, and boy, what a risk. What an opportunity, but also, like every great story, it starts with recognizing an opportunity and taking a risk.
Yeah, well, it was, being at the Baltimore Country Club, in our profession, the older clubs were what you were aspiring to get to. They were the ones with the reputation and the history and,
Right.
your feeling for the game, you were attracted to that. So I had worked myself in a position to get to one of those places. So here's a 100-year-old club, top 100, hosted a US Open, hosted a Walker Cup, all the history, everything was in place, like, bingo, here you go.
That's it.
That's it. And there were some members at the Baltimore Country Club that were going to be members, were already members at Caves Valley, and suggested to Les Disharoon, our first chairman, maybe you should talk to this guy. So, we had a visit, short visits. His first question was, "Dennis, there's several people involved with this project that tell me you're perfect for the job. Are you?" I
Love
said,
that
"This is
question.
it's 5 after 8." In August of 1990,
Right.
we're on dirt in a trailer,
Right.
and he's saying, "You perfect for the job, are you?" And I thought to myself, I'm trying to talk while I'm thinking how to say what I wanna say.
Right. Right.
And I'm flattered, that's really da da da, but I said, "Mr. Dishon, ooh, I've just met you, and I certainly don't want you to take this the wrong way, but actually, I agree with him. I think I am." So, we had a laugh, and then we talked about all the things we were gonna do,
Yeah.
and he said, "Tell you what I want you to do. I want you to go home and write down what you need to come to work here."
That's
Thinking
interesting.
I'm thinking, "This is a take-home final here. This is
Yeah.
pretty good."
Right.
So I called my pal Tom Kite on the way home.
Right.
I said, "Tom, here's this course. I got 1,000 members at BCC, 50 here. This guy's telling me to write my own contract. I'm thinking about asking for a little less." He said, "What? Less?" He said, "You take a nickel less in this job, lose my phone number." That's what he said. So anyway, but I just felt like I was 40 years old.
Okay. That's
And,
the right time.
you learn in the 30s, you earn in the 40s,
That's
but
right.
I just felt like this was time to take a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't have to move, and these guys, Les, and he kinda had this group of kinda business people,
Right.
and his checklist of things he wanted to do were things that made sense to me, that I liked. And I felt like, and I don't want this to come the wrong way to you, but I felt like my skill set matched up better with the national club,
Mhm.
and not taking anything against anybody. I just thought this could be right. This
Mm.
is this is the time for me to take a chance.
Yeah.
So, it fell together, and right from the beginning, you know, Les walked the talk. He said it's going to be special. He made it special. We had rules. We
Right.
went by rules.
Yeah, like, pants
Mi
all year round.
Michael Jordan. How
Yeah.
about that story?
Yeah.
Do
Tell it.
you know that story? So, Les is interviewing Michael Jordan to join.
Yeah.
He's a Carolina guy. I'm a Duke guy. We're in the library, And Michael Jordan's got this gangster lean, or what, he's kind of got this, and he's in the long pants. And Lester's saying, Michael, we're delighted to have you here, and I just want you to know we have rules here, and we go by the rules. We take our hat off when we come inside, we keep our shirt tucked in, and we wear long pants. I said, oh boy, this is going to be a short meeting. And Michael Jordan said, Mr. Disharum, he said, I've spent most of my career in short pants. I like long pants. So he's joined and still a member.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Even though he got by the whole Duke, North
Yeah,
Carolina
well,
thing.
he was tying his shoes in my office, and I had a Duke head cover over an empty Coke bottle or something, and I put it on my desk. When he looked up, he said, "Oh, no." He said, "Tell me it isn't so."
So you actually you were, you go back in time, you were a heck of an athlete. You played football at Duke, and,
It's hard to
you
believe,
played
actually.
played a lot of sports, and so you go to Duke to play football, and, so obviously you good athlete. I know you were a good basketball player, a good football player, and yet you found golf along the way.
Well, my dad worked in the foundry for General Electric. Had a membership, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he played 9 holes, and
Ah,
when we caddied for him, he'd give us $1 and plate of French fries or something.
yeah.
And I was playing
Fries would have done it for me.
and I was playing baseball at the time, and
Right.
back then, we played all the sports. Played football in the fall, basketball in the winter, baseball,
Sure.
and the golf thing, and he's one day it rained, and most of the guys went in and stopped, and he rolled the ball out there. He says, "You think you're a pretty good athlete, don't you?" I said, "No, I don't. I know I am." I was about 13 or something,
Right.
He said, "Let me see you hit one."
Wait, don't act like you still don't feel that way now.
And I said, "Dad, it's a stupid game." I go, like, "Come on." He said, "Hit one." So I laid the sod over it, hit a grounder. I said, "Dad, come on, look." He said, "You're right. That game's a little too tough for you. Forget it."
Oh, fantastic.
So I started riding to work with him and going over to the course. And I went from that to my senior year in high school. I won the Pennsylvania State High School tournament.
Wow, wow, terrific.
So I always had golf in the back of my mind. But football, I had chances to go to Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Penn State. And for my dad, any of those would have been great. Era Parsegian called him, Woody Hayes, Joe Paterno, talking to my dad. Okay. So the Duke recruiter comes in and, they bring me down. It's February. I got to make a decision pretty soon. So I said, "Where's Duke?" He said, "It's in North Carolina." I said, "Are they playing golf there now?" And he said, "Yeah, we are." So I go.
Great.
I play golf. I said, "This is a northern school in the South, small, got a golf course right on campus. I'm going to get hurt playing, and I'll have the golf."
Yeah.
So I told my dad I'm going to Duke. He didn't talk to me for a month.
Oh my goodness.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good school,
Yeah.
as it turns out.
Good deal.
What did the Dukies say? Harvard is the Duke of the North?
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Oh, that's great. And so you found your way into golf. You come out of Duke, you get into the golf world, you're at BCC. Caves knocks on the door. Now you're in the startup club. And that's it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because you have some very successful businessmen, both in the Baltimore area and outside, and they have this vision, right? This dream of a club that's not your traditional country club. That from day one, a national club to attract business to Baltimore, not to attract
Yeah.
golfers, but to
Right.
attract business to golfers. Let the Baltimore people have a business tool, and let Caves be a draw for other businesses. And you were put in charge essentially of the front door of this endeavor.
Well, it was a noble challenge, a noble goal of doing it. You sounded just like Les when you were saying it, because that's what he said, but he lived it. But I just knew we had to make people feel good coming there,
Mm,
and it's one thing to describe a special place is hard to do, but you can feel it.
mhm.
If you think about the places you like going, people know you,
Right.
and they know what you like, and they know how to make you feel like I've been waiting for you. And I could do that. I was in the huddle with guys that I was a captain, offensive captain, and I wasn't even close to the best player, but I could get people to go, you know?
Right.
So,
Motivator.
yeah, and I could convince people, "This place is gonna be great. Look at this. Look at what we're doing." And I can't tell you how many nine-hole rounds I played, maybe 1,000, because I'd jump on the back nine
Yeah.
and play with, "Leo, would you mind if I jumped in with you and played the back nine? I like
Creating relationships.
relationships."
That's great.
And I had my list of, you're a fish in the barrel, so to speak, but I had a list of every member on the property every day because we had all starting times,
Right.
you know. So I would see every member every day. And some of them I'd miss. They'd tee off. I'd be in a meeting or something. I'd drive out on the course.
Yeah.
I say, "Mr. Kelly, sorry I missed you on it." And they see the pro coming. They think, "What did we do wrong? Are we playing?"
Check the watch. Am I
Right.
playing fast?
So I said, "Oh, Mr. Kelly, I'm sorry I missed you. I just wanted to meet your members, say hello,
Yeah.
make sure everything's
You've done
okay."
that with me. It's amazing.
And to a man, every time I've done that, the member stands up a little taller,
That's
says, "This is our pro
that's
here."
right.
So, things like that,
Right.
just trying to find a connector, find something in common, like your son played quarterback at Wake Forest,
Yeah.
our father's son, our invitational. We would just try and do everything we could to make people feel like you're special. This is
Yeah.
special.
And I think, I think this translates to, our entrepreneurs because we're always trying to deliver a message. And this is why I asked you to come here today and have this conversation, right? Because your ability to focus on a great outcome. And so much in business today, people are task oriented, right?
Hmm.
Check a box, move on. Check a box, move on. I was just at the sanctuary in Kiowa this past weekend.
Beautiful hotel.
Wonderful place, beautiful hotel. My wife and I went away for our anniversary. We had a wonderful time. There were a handful of things that were missed. And when I went to try to get it corrected, people were polite. They were wonderful, but they didn't fix it. Right. And so there wasn't an outcome oriented endeavor by them. And when I think about caves, right, it's so special. Every time you bring somebody, the first thing they talk about, the caves experience, second to none in the country. And a lot of that had to do with you, with the GM Nancy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was really fantastic. The food, everything, every detail, it's all outcome oriented. And that's, I think, what has made caves great. I mean, yes, there's been great leadership with our three chairmen, and Steve Fader, who's chairman today, is doing a magnificent job with the
So entrepreneurial.
yeah.
Just not to interrupt, but each chairman was the right guy at the right time.
That's interesting. So I talk to that
Well, Les was a
because you
sales.
you 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 are the common, right? You've been
Right.
across all three,
Les was the salesman.
right?
Those guys took a trip up to Laurel Valley and kind of got the idea of,
Right.
this isn't going to be your first club. It's not your primary club. It's part of an economic development. We're going to do, bring tournaments and all that stuff. But he sold it. He believed in it. And when you listen to him, he said, I actually thought, we're going to do this.
I can't tell you how many members I know who are national members who said, "I don't know what happened. I came here, I had a great time, and next thing I know, I'm writing a check to become a member."
Yeah. So, uh, in the early 90s, there was a real estate kind of a downturn.
Right.
And clubs like caves like ours, when the economy and things get a little tough, that's that extra club that oftentimes is the first one cut out or cut off. So we right off the bat we're behind, but we acted like we had a room full of money. We didn't cut back on anything. We just kept delivering the goods, and so 12, 13 years into it, how Les got Tony Deering to take
Yeah.
over was the perfect guy. Tony was a CFO before he was a CEO. And long story short, he said, there's only one way out, man. We've got to pay down the debt.
Yeah.
And he was so believable that we did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Right.
And how Tony Deering decided to take Steve Fader, the perfect guy. When you look at our facility before Steve Fader and after,
Right.
it's incredible.
Yeah, the transformation, the facilities, the club, the golf course, bringing the BMW here, really Incredible.
Well, he was, and they all in their own way were relentless.
Right.
You know,
Right.
they just
Right.
they had what they focused on. We stayed on it. We stayed on course, and I kept doing the same thing. You know, I'd tell these stories about different things, and they say, "Geez, I've already heard that one." I was, I said, "Geez, I was counting on you to forget that."
Well, there's a few things about coming to Caves Valley, right? You get a great burger, some of the best french fries in the country, and you get the story from Dennis. I mean,
It's
you
true.
just it's all reliable.
Well, they kinda count on that, but, you can't make those stories up.
That's
You
right.
know, we had some good ones. Ryder Cup was one of them. That was, there were some great stories there. Presidents coming. We've had,
Right.
4 of the 6 presidents
Right.
come to Caves,
Right.
and, the first one was 41
Yeah.
with Arnold Palmer,
Wow.
and Reg Murphy brought him.
Wow.
And I walked the whole way with them, and, number 10, it was number 10 then, and they were going off number 10, and I'm on the tee with Arnold, and he's hitching his pants, and I said, Arnold, you may not wanna hit driver here, it's a little downhill," and he was kinda hitching his pants, and he said, "Dennis," he said, "I'm not too good at laying up. I'm gonna hit that driver." So we go around, and 41, President Bush was such a gentleman.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay, and
There's a reason they get to that place.
and he came in and had lunch. I'll never forget this. Some things that happened last week I can't remember, and some things that happened 30 years ago I remember like it was last
Right.
week,
Right.
and this is one of them. He was sitting there. There were 8 or 10 people having lunch. Les was there, Arnold was there, Reg Murphy was there, the whole group, and he calls me over. I wasn't sitting, but I was, reachable. So I come over and I lean down, and the Secret Service guy's right with me leaning down. And the president said, "Dennis," he said, "I've had such a wonderful day today. Could you get the people from the kitchen out by the front door,
Nice.
the chef and the people
Yeah.
back there? I'd like to thank them on my way out." So I did, and they were by the door, and each one, he shook their hand and just said,
Fantastic.
that it's such a great day. Couple dishwashers, there were 5 or 6
Yeah.
people. And he was so sincere
Right.
and just a real gentleman. And
There's also a great story, and if you could give us the quick version of the great story about when Obama came and he was in our locker room with one of our locker room attendants.
oh boy.
I mean, that's a tearjerker if I've ever seen one and heard one.
Well, I've told that story thousands of times, and every time when I get to the end of it,
Yeah.
I'm crying.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But each president had more and more security.
Right.
Obama had 28 SUVs,
Hmm.
black big SUVs winging around, and he was going to change his shoes in the meeting house. So the official greeters are Steve Fader, the chairman, and myself. He's down by the road. So the locker room's right there, and Forrest is a, 90 at the time, 90-year-old African American, little 5'6" guy, has his face up against the window.
Mm.
He's going to see the first African American president. So I look over, I see him. I'm moved by compassion, and I ask the aide, "Could we bring a World War II veteran out?" He said, "Bring him out." So we bring him
He
out.
was in 2 of the big battles, right?
Yeah. Oh boy. So finally, the cars come around, the president gets out, Steve Fader talks to him, they come up, and Steve says, "Mr. President, this is Dennis Satyshur, he's our director of golf, been here 25 years." So I reach out, "Mr. President, honor, privilege to be here, to have you here, and just hope you can relax a little bit and enjoy yourself." He hits the C button, charm. He said, "Dennis," he said, "don't you worry about that." He said, "I've heard a lot of great things about Caves Valley. I've even heard a few good things about you."
Oh.
So I go right back up to the net and I said, "Mr. President, you're just looking for a good tea time." And he laughed. I said, "Mr. President, this is Forrest Lockley, 90 years old, was on the beaches of Normandy and fought with General Patton at the Battle of the Bulge." And the president's standing up like, so he leans down, Forrest 5'6" and 6'3". He's got his elbow and he's shaking hands with him. He said, "Forrest," he said, "this is an honor and a privilege for me to meet you." He said, "In my position, I meet a lot of veterans, but I've never met one that's been the places that you've been." Like, perfect,
Hmm.
you know? So I looked down at Forrest, a little tear going down his cheek. So he comes out, he goes in his pocket, he pulls out a presidential coin. It's about the size of a silver dollar, embossed with the White House and the presidential seal. Puts it on Forrest's hand and he's rubbing him. He said, Forrest, I want you to have this, a small token of my appreciation and our country's for what you and your generation have done for us.
Oh.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And steps back. So now it's time for Forrest to say something. I look at Forrest. There's no way. It's the quarterback in me. I had to call it quick audible. I said, Forrest, can you salute our commander-in-chief, the President of the United States? He just jumped up and stood there. And soldiers don't come down if they have a higher ranking officer until the president saluted him.
Wow.
Took him down.
Wow. Caves Valley moment.
I mean, we've had those moments.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I see Forrest 3 days later. I said, Forrest, that was some day on Saturday, wasn't it? He said, are you kidding? It's one of the best days of my life. I said, if you think of it, could you bring in that presidential coin? I'd love to see it. He said, you mean this?
Yeah, that's not going far away from Forrest.
So that was a moment.
Yeah, that's such a great story. But that's what when you think about a great place, right? It's all about culture, right? We talk about that in business all the time, right? Culture, culture, culture. I'm looking through the window here. We got Michelle crying. Tissue.
I need to take a break, seriously.
We got tissue.
I can't even see the monitor.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. It's
That's not getting edited out, by the way.
that's the real stuff.
But it's genuine, and I think one of the things I love, I'm so proud to be a member of Caves Valley, right? And we're recognized nationally when I walk around my Caves logo, right?
People know it.
Valley,
They respect it.
Caves Valley, it's a great place. You don't get that because the greens are fast. You don't get that just because yes, is it a magnificent course? Yes. Are the greens fish? Yes. Are the burgers fantastic? Yes. It's everything, but it's also culture. It's people. We're at National Club, but some of my favorite days are when I go with my son, which I've been doing since he's 11, 3 days there for the father-son or the invitational. It's a group of people who are proud members, and when they bring their guests, you feel that. When we're all together as members, you feel that, and that doesn't happen on accident, Dennis, right?
Right.
What was the secret? Every detail. I'm looking at the red logo. We joked about that before. The red logo is, if you're a Caves member, you wear a red logo, and if you see any other color, it's probably not that Caves members don't wear other color logos, but the red logo is exclusive to the members, and it's such a cool thing, and non-members think it's cool. And if you go to Caves Valley and you go in the pro shop, there's steps that go up to a little room where it's just red logo stuff, and only members are allowed. I always joke with people. I said, if you even try to go up there, they hit a button, the steps go flat, you slide down, they knock you over the head, and they take you out of the place, right? It's all those details, right?
Well, it was the story was Mike Kudak, who's contributed so much to the club in so many ways. He and I would sit with prospective members and just really kind of tell them what it was like. And I would start by saying, the worst thing that could happen if you become a member, it'd be a month from now where you would say, I wish they'd told me that. Or
Right.
I didn't really understand that.
All right, let's say business tip number 5 here on this podcast. And say what you're going to do and do what you say you're going to do, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then I would say you have to put up with some of my football stuff, but that's how I communicate. But when you come here, I want you to wear our logo, the Caves logo. This is before we had the red. That tells me that you're in the huddle and you're waiting for the plays to be called. You're going to run them.
And you weren't so subtle about it.
No. Well, because I had backing from Les and the boys. I had backing and I needed to sell more in the golf shop. But I said, I know where you've been, but if you're here, you're a team,
Right.
and when we hit the sled as a team, that sucker moves. But when we hit it individually, like you wear Augusta, and I know you've been to Augusta, that's telling me you're not quite in.
Right.
And I said, here, and I'd always lean in when I do this, here, there's only one person that calls the plays. That's our chairman. He has the best interest of the club at heart. He has the most knowledge. And I said, you know what we do when he calls the plays? We run them. We just do them.
Right.
And people trust the leadership there.
That's right.
And I heard Jim Nantz talking about Augusta and how special it is, and the behavior of the people when they come there. If we could get back to that as a country, because people say hello to people they don't know.
That's right.
They look up, they're friendly, they're so happy to be there. Well, I'm not going to compare us to Augusta, but our people are happy to be there,
You're
and
100%.
they look and say hello to people they don't know, and we foster that, we encourage that. I would do that, and I'd make my assistants do it.
It's so I will say, so having being so blessed coming from the economic background I come from to be at some of the greatest clubs in the world, um, that pride, right, that the members are always, flying the flag, as you like to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
exists in those great clubs. But again, it's not the golf course, it's the culture of the club that really permeates from, and that's always been there with Caves, right? The members not don't just do it out of obligation, they do it out of pride,
Yeah.
and I could by the way, I have a funny story, I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I ever set foot on campus as a member, I go in, I go and I go in the pro shop and I'm looking around shirts and I pick a few out and I tell the guy, "Could you send in my locker?" "Yes, sir, Mr. Kelly." "Of course, always. Yes, Mr. Kelly, we'll take care of everything." And I walked out and I had a Pinehurst shirt on, right? And I had it on because it's the first day I'd been there. I hadn't been to the pro shop yet to get a Cave shirt. And I walk over and you looked at me and you said, "Leo, welcome to Caves Valley." I said, "Oh, thanks, Dan. I'm so excited." He said, "Are you changing before you go out?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "What? You have a?" I don't
I
think.
thought we had this
Yeah, I
conversation.
thought we had this conversation. I said, "Oh, Dan, I just bought shirts." He's like, and you said to me, I'll never forget this. "That's a 2-shirt penalty, Leo. They'll be in your locker." And I went and I changed my shirt. And when I got done playing golf, there was 2 brand new Caves Valley golf shops in my and and I said,
I
"Okay,
I did some crazy thing.
message received." But it was great. And you know what? I tell that story all the time, proudly, right? Proudly, because that's culture. And like our red jackets. And so for those, it's amazing. When if you go to Caves, you know the members because the members are eating dinner, you wear a jacket, and the members wear the Caves Valley red jacket with the logo.
Yeah.
And that's all the same. Which
It took a while to get some traction because Les was the only one wearing it, and our members in the beginning, "I don't wanna wear a red jacket. I want a navy or black. I'm a little more conservative." But, he and we, were persistent. Well, one other thing I'd say, and I'd be curious if you feel this way, but we've been able to attract very prominent people,
Mm, yeah.
I mean, really, and one thing that I sense there, and this behavior that we're talking
Mhm.
about, I think encourages it, but people like to be, at some place that's bigger than they are.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, like if you go to a special place,
Yeah.
it is what it is, and it's bigger than you.
Yeah,
And Caves, in its own way, kind of treats everybody the same.
that's right.
And the club is bigger than all of us,
Yeah,
but it's what we do together
yep,
collectively that makes it so good.
right.
So from
Even when I go on a Saturday morning with my son to play, it's still like the first time. I mean, it's still to the point, right?
yeah,
It's bigger. It's bigger. You just go there and you're just like, wow, I'm here. I can't believe it. I'm here and I want to play again. This is great.
yeah,
And the part of that too is, as I said, details. You fostered the great caddy program there. The caddies are amazing. They're all professionals. I put up against any caddy program in the country. Every little detail. It's amazing. I will tell you one of my favorite memories, and you've had so much unique success in your career, right? I mean, I think about your reputation around the country is impeccable. And everybody knows, oh, Caves, Dennis Satyshur, right?
yeah. So
Um,
it's still amazing to me. Uh,
well, it is, but it isn't, Dennis. Right? You've created this amazing culture. It's unique. You've fostered what dozens of pros that are now in country clubs around the country.
Probably, 35-ish and maybe another 10 that are teachers.
Amazing, right? And so, I mean, you've done the thing that every great entrepreneur does. You've come in to a startup and you created culture and you created outcome. You went through a tough time, right? When the club got into financial straits, when Tony came in, so we got paid with
Couple of
debt,
them. Couple of them.
couple of them. And by the way, people don't pay that assessment unless that experience is that great, right? They didn't they paid it because they wanted caves, and they wanted it to survive and thrive.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the things that happened to me 5 years into it, I was offered the job at Burning Tree,
yeah, pretty good spot.
and the president came over and he said, "Dennis, we just had a board meeting. You're the luckiest guy I know because we're not interviewing anybody. Max Elbin was the pro there. He's retiring after 45 years. You're the pro." I said, "Geez, I'm flattered. Can I have a night to think about it?" He said, "Think about what? You're the pro at Burning Tree." So the next morning, I call him up, and my guardian angel was on duty. As I said to him, I said, his name was Johnny Walker. I said, "Mr. Walker, I'm going to stay at Caves. I need to see this thing through."
Oh,
He said, "What?" And I said,
that's so not today. That is
so
such a
I
great
told him,
answer.
I'm going to see it through. But I said, "But would you consider an assistant?" And he said, "Well, if you're not coming, I'd consider anybody." I said, "Just come over." And I didn't even tell him it was Charlie Briggs. So he comes over and I get them together and they play 9 holes and I see him at the turn. We had a little tent there, back then.
Right.
I said, "Mr. Walker, what did you think of Charlie?" He said, "I like him more than you." And Charlie's been there 28 years or 20, or he's the general manager.
As any great mentor should do.
Yeah.
And you've done such a good job transitioning from being the a 30 plus year job, um, because I go there today and that culture still exists. And you mentored a young man who's not a young man anymore,
Right.
who's the director of golf now.
He's just doing great.
Yeah, Matt.
So proud of him. He was with me 15 years,
Yeah.
but he turned down a job, um, about 5 or 6 years before I retired. And Steve Fader, we had breakfast, and he had to make a decision by 11 o'clock that morning. So we would meet at breakfast. And so Steve and Matt and myself,
Matt Fuller.
right. And so Steve, he says, "Okay, Matt, what are we doing here?" He said, "Mr. Fader," he said, I was up all last night. He said, "I couldn't sleep." I said, "I love Caves Valley. I love Caves Valley. I don't want to go." He said, "This meeting's over. You don't need to go. You stay here." And I think from that moment on, Steve Fader, really began to envision Matt as the guy. And he said to me just more and more
He made
things.
a very similar choice that you made.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
We started giving him more responsibilities before I left, and I could see that, you know, when a club gets a new pro, most of the members are in a wait and see. We'll see
Yeah,
how he
that's
fits and
right.
that. Not at Caves.
No.
They want him to succeed.
Right.
They want him to do well,
Yeah.
and he is. So that just makes them happy.
Right.
So I couldn't be more proud and more happy for our membership because we haven't missed a beat.
Yeah. And then you've my favorite transition story, and it was one of my favorite moments at Caves Valley, um, was after a career of doing everything Caves and creating culture and creating the environment we're in and creating the presence of greatness in a club, logos, caddies, mentorship, pros all over the country, recognizable logo everywhere I go. Seeing the red coats at dinner every night, right? And you and your staff in your dark blue coats at every event, getting a round of applause. One of my favorite memories in my history, and I'm confident will always be, was the night at the member when you retired and they took your blue coat off and they put a red coat on you.
Yeah,
They made you a member.
man, I feel like that happened an hour ago. The memory is so. They had 300 guys there, all standing up,
All in red
clapping.
coats.
And I Steve Fader put it on me, and I just kind of gave it that, and it just made everyone smile and happy, and it was just a special moment. But everybody felt good about
Yeah.
what we'd done
Yeah.
and what was happening.
Right.
I saw Steve Bisciotti, and he said, now you finally have the red coat on, but every time I saw you, I saw red.
That's wonderful.
Things like that. I mean, and the retirement that the club did for me was so thoughtful,
And Nancy too. Nancy Bahama.
it was great. It was great.
You guys came in together and went out together. It was really cool.
Well, she was the brains of the outfit by a lot.
Right.
Yeah, was an accountant and did the numbers, and many times there wasn't enough there to go around, and Les would have to go knocking on a few doors to get it. But loyalty, commitment, we just dug in,
Yeah.
and
There's a lot of themes here. There's a lot of similarities across this whole story.
yeah, but I'm proud of what we've become and who we are.
Yeah.
Because you can go to Augusta, you can go to Pine Valley, you can go anywhere, and people see that logo, Case Valley. You remember there? Yes or no? Yeah, actually, I am. Special place, great.
Yeah.
And that's not for sale.
Right.
You can't buy it. You gotta earn it.
Yeah. So just I want to kind of circle into the finish line here. Last 2 yards, then.
Okay.
And
Red zone.
Red zone. We're in the red zone, then. So to finish, you've been through a lot, right? With golf, you've been in the game a long time.
45 years.
45 years. You were an assistant captain. Was that the title of the Ryder Cup in '97?
They've dressed it up a little bit. I was the first assistant for the U.S. team.
Right.
And they call it a vice captain now.
Vice captain.
And now they
for folks on the Ryder Cup. So Tom Kite's the captain. Dennis is the vice captain of the Ryder Cup. I mean, how great was that? That had to be one of the coolest memories in your career.
Whatever you think it is,
Right.
how good it is,
10 times.
it's better.
Yeah.
We had dinner Sunday night with the sitting president of the United States at the
Unbelievable.
Waldorf Astoria.
Yeah.
I'm a kid from Erie, PA, with a last name people can't say.
You know more presidents than Nancy Pelosi.
But we had dinner. We flew the Concorde over. The Concorde over,
Amazing.
met by the King and Queen of Spain. And our team was loaded. Tiger Woods was a rookie.
Wow.
Won the Masters. Justin Leonard won the British. Davis Love won the PGA. We are loaded. And Sevy's their captain. And they got guys I've never heard of. Ignacio Garrido. Per Rico Hansen. Like, this is a mismatch. Rain the whole time. Rain. And I have to give you this story because it's another good one.
Yeah.
And I'll try and keep it short.
Good luck.
I'm not good at this.
No, you're not good.
But we played till dark on Saturday night.
Right.
Okay. It's 9:00, and we come back, we take a shower, and we're behind by more points than any U.S. team has ever been behind, 5.5 points.
Oh.
And Tom Kite, there were 26 of us with wives, had a Thanksgiving Day table. And he was at one end, his wife at the other, and everybody so we're all at the same table.
Right.
And it's 10:30 Saturday night. We're eating, and you could hear the forks on the plate.
Right.
It's like a soup kitchen, and nobody's talking. It's lower than dirt.
Right.
Tom Kite's not there. Like, what a night for room service. We got to do something.
Right.
Finally, he walks in. Guys, I'm sorry I'm late. Pretty tough day out there today. Looks like everything that could go wrong did. But there's someone here that would like to speak to you, and I think you'd like to hear what he has to say. And everybody's like, God, not another speech. If the body language was, whoever it is, if he doesn't talk, we promise we'll play better.
Right.
That was the feeling.
Michelle gets that face with me a lot.
So Tom looks over at the door. So we look over at the door, and in comes, in a tux, 6'3". You know how presidents walk. In walks, chills again, 41. And he comes walking in, and Tom had gone to the black tie dinner, gotten the president to come. So we all stand up and start clapping. And he gets to the head of the table, and he talks left-handed. He pulls up his thing. He says, sit down. And he's going around. He said, now look. He said, you are not unlike several other American teams before you. You're on foreign soil, and you're down. But you're not out. He said, by my calculations, not even halftime. 12 singles matches tomorrow, 3 matches that aren't finished. That's 15 points. There are only 28 in the whole match. And then he did the coolest thing. He hit the table. He went, bang! Everybody had to jump. He said, look around. He said, "You are America's finest. You're the best we've got. Tomorrow, Barbara and I are going to be two of about 200 million Americans pulling their guts out for you. Go get them." Turned, walked out.
Wow. Wow.
So everybody now is pumped, and they have a custom of going around the table, and just the guys get up, say whatever they want to say, and I'm halfway around on the other
Yeah.
side. So when he started, I was pretty sure that he wasn't going to call me.
Right.
And it's getting close. I'm thinking, he might. And if he does, he can't, make a joke.
Right.
So Lee Jansen's next to me, and he doesn't talk when he's talking. See, he's up and down in no time. So I'm like the kid that didn't do his homework. I got my head down, I'm scratching, and he goes, "Foot," short for football. I said, "Oh boy, here we go." He said, "I know the guys know about our relationship, but if there's anything you like to say or share with the team, I'm sure they'd be glad to hear it." So I stood up 10 minutes after the president talking to the Ryder Cup team. And I said, "On behalf of 28,000 club professionals that would give anything to be here, Tom, thank you for asking me and including the PGA of America. Now, guys, the president's right. We can win this thing. Just promise me you won't go to sleep tonight till you see us holding that trophy, shaking the champagne. See you at breakfast." Sat down.
Perfect.
So I said I'd never be nervous giving another talk, but that hasn't worked.
And the result was?
Jesus. We lost by 1 point.
Ah,
And Tiger Woods,
gave it the fight, though.
we knew if you played all 5 matches, you lose the 5th match 80% of the time.
Right.
So he was the only one that we played 5 times. And I'll never forget, I'm on the tee the next morning, 3rd match. Tiger's here. Next to me is this guy's got one eye shut, belly's out, hadn't shaved. I'm like, who's this guy? Konstantin Roca.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at
I
Tiger, and I'm
remember.
looking at Roca, and I'm thinking, Tiger, let's give him to a side.
Yeah.
It looked like such a mismatch. Roca birdied the first 4 holes, beat him like a step job.
Wow. Wow.
We lost by
Just-
1.
That's competition, right?
That's why they play.
Whether it's golf or football or business, that's just competition. That's just
Yeah.
the way the game's played.
So
Fight your hardest, and you guys did.
well,
But
what
I mean,
an
you just-
experience.
you just have so many great memories. I guess my last question for you is, here we are at a really interesting place in the game, right? We've got Live, this whole weird thing that popped up, and I'm not going to ask you to say anything you're not supposed to or shouldn't as a former professional, but
I don't know that much about it, really.
so you have Live and you have the PGA and you have, golf. Everybody said was dead for a while. I think it was more demographics than anything else, and then COVID, and we're at this interesting place. You have a revival of interest in golf again.
I think so.
We have these 2 different leagues, although I don't know we quite know what that is. I see the enthusiasm around Baltimore and the BMW. What's your take? What's the future of golf? I mean,
Well,
do you think it's just as strong a franchise as there is in sports? There is nothing like it, right? You call your own penalties.
yeah.
I was thinking about that at Oakmont. Everybody in the stands was rooting for everybody.
Sure.
It's a unique experience. You've lived it your whole life. Do you think we're at the beginning of another run in golf?
I do, and I heard Michael Wan is the CEO of the USGA, and he said that in the last 5 years they've picked up 13 million golfers.
God, that's amazing.
And the 3 areas, it's girls play. Girls are playing more. Junior girls in our foundation.
In your market.
Juniors in general. The first tee, the boys club. More and more kids are playing, and we're
Focus on next gen.
involved with that. And minorities are starting to play. 13 million in the last 5 years.
That's wonderful.
And you see these driving ranges now that have, a bar with it and food, and the putt-putts are getting upgraded, and Tiger and some guys have invested in this team stuff where they're playing indoors.
Indoors, yeah.
So there are a lot of really good things going on with golf. And I think the Live, as they get to the end of this first cycle, where the contracts will be up.
Right.
Their TV stuff is almost non-existent.
Yeah.
They play in shorts, they have shotgun starts, they have team. It's hard to watch more than 2 or 3 holes.
That's right. That's right.
But I think some of those guys missed the tour, the John Rahms and Koepka
They miss being relevant.
yeah,
They miss
yeah.
being relevant.
So I think when that happens,
Right.
if it were easy to do, it'd been done.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take these 50 guys and move them back in.
No, there's nothing like the PGA Tour.
No, and the best things I heard from the tour guys that stayed
Right.
is we owe it to the next generation of tour players. The guys before us played for nothing, you know, and paid for all their own stuff, but hung in there and hung together
That's right.
and produced what we have today.
Kind of reminds me of a club pro I knew that didn't take a job at Bernie Tree. Kind of stuck in there. Here's what I will tell you. Everybody recognizes the Caves Valley logo. Here's my one assessment of Live, success or non-success. They've got all these teams. They got team uniforms, and I see kids with NBA shirts, NFL shirts. I see them with golf club. Remember, I never see anybody wearing the Live uniform.
Yeah.
If it was successful, that they'd be merchandising the daylights out of those team uniforms, and you never see them anywhere, not even on golf courses. So I think, yeah, it speaks to the strength of tradition.
Yeah,
And I know you appreciate that.
well, you know, the people I admire the most, you know, and one thing I've learned being around all these successful people is,
And 7 presidents.
yeah, eh, the smartest people know they don't know everything,
Uh,
you know?
Not a word.
They
I see you up there.
they play to their strengths, they recruit to their weaknesses.
Right.
But the other thing that you know, the the Tom Ridges of the world, you know, the guys that I really
Yeah,
respect,
Devin Ridge, yeah.
cloaked in humility. There's a humbleness about them. They work hard, they're committed, they have passion, they have compassion, and they're humble. I'm just a guy, I'm just a gal, I'm just whoever. And I like that. I've always tried to work that into who I am, and maybe not.
That's your Mount Erie roots, Mount Erie, PA.
Well,
They build them strong and they build them right.
well, we had so many kids. The first 5 in our family were boys. We were all altar boys, and we were in church all the time. But then I realized that church isn't that expensive, so that's why we were there.
Well, Dennis, I'm going to we're going to end on Mount Erie. That's where it started, and that's where we're going to end it. But what a fun conversation. So
Well, thank
so happy you came in and we had this conversation. I'm really excited about what's coming in golf. Thrilled that we're going to see the BMW here in a couple of weeks.
We're gonna crush it.
I mean,
I'm telling you,
it's going to be amazing, and we'll be there. We're going to be right up there watching.
they're gonna be
watching
red
things.
blazers, and the people of Baltimore are gonna be proud of
Yes.
what we delivered,
Yes.
what we've produced,
Yes.
and how it's gonna stand up to the best players in the world.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Well, I'm proud to be a member of Caves Valley. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud of your career. It's a remarkable career. It literally, when we talk about successful entrepreneurs, your career has all of it, right? It has risk, hard work, execution. You saw yourself through tough times. You were graceful in the good times. You created an amazing culture. You created pride in the people around you in the organization. You went out in class. You stayed with it, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about this. You're now a member of CASE, but you're heavily involved in the foundation and the great work that we're doing
So
at the
proud
foundation.
of being a part of helping others as we get older, and I'm in the red zone, of life here. The give is way better than the get.
Yeah, I mean,
And we are doing such a good job.
yeah, we just opened up the house.
Well, we're gonna cut the ribbons on the Monday of BMW week, but helping these kids, we're taking kids off the street and onto the course, caddying and playing and into the classrooms and a chance at the American dream. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful.
Dennis, you had an amazing career. You were a big part of creating just a magical place in Caves Valley, and I'm really happy we know each other, and I'm happy we had this conversation.
I'm flattered that you would ask, and you're a great listener, and you gave me some bounce passes. I tried to put them in.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning into this really incredible conversation with Dennis Satyshur about his career, about Caves Valley, about the upcoming exciting tournament of the BMW. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. I know I had a wonderful time on this one. We made Michelle cry, which is, that's always fun.
That was very, very telling.
And so we do want you to hit the alarm button, hit the heart, subscribe. And Michelle, you want to give them the rundown of where?
Wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there, and we are from thegroundup.fm.
From thegroundup.fm. Thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
And thank you, Leo, again.
You're welcome, Dan.